everyone, and welcome back to Winter 89 Colors. My name is Melissa, and I am here today with everyone's favorite, well, maybe second favorite video of the month, completed pages. I'm not gonna lie, I rocked it out this month. So, I've got my tea in my classic Canadian Tim Hortons cup here, and yes, I am a savage. I left the tea bag in. I've got a pen in case I need to note anything, and I've got my handy dandy coloring journal. So I'm not going to bore you with too many statistics today, but I will just flip to the September. I didn't mark anything in the calendar. I didn't do any buddy colors, prompts, challenges, but I did do a ton of pages. So I worked in 2 prompts or challenges, which really they were hashtags. I participated in hashtag Spacetember 2025 and Project Mythical Minis. So that's 2 I put in there. Didn't do any buddy colors. As I've been saying, I'm not really taking buddy colors right now. I'm kind of afraid to disappoint people because I'm not reliable. So maybe I'll get back into that coming up in the next few months. But for right now, we're still going to leave it at we're not going to buddy. I've done 26 pages, which is way more than I have been doing lately, out of 18 books. And I touched 7 untouched books, as you can see by these marks over here. I forgot to record my stats last month, so we're kind of starting fresh. I've got 1439 on Instagram and 1809 on YouTube. I know that this has grown. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed on YouTube. That is fabulous. I'm so grateful. The only thing I purchased this month was Boule de Pois. As so many of you know, we will not be seeing that this month as I purchased it right near the end of the month. I didn't get a chance to color in it, but wink, wink, I might be coloring in it in October. So that is that. Let's move on and I will show you the pages. Okay, so these are in no particular order. I've just kind of piled them up beside me and we will see what happens. Sorry about my nails, by the way. I know they need to be redone, but I don't care. So, all right. So the first one that is actually I recorded as 1 page, even though it's technically multiple, is bookmarks. I have done a ton of these bookmarks. By Mimi Coloring Designs on Etsy, I bought these stained glass ones. And I went through a phase where I colored several of these. As you can see, I've got this one done, and I've done them with all kinds of different materials. This one's a whip, obviously. I used gel pens, glitter markers, Languo gel pens, acrylic paint pens, alcohol markers, you name it, I've used it. I'm not going to go over everything, but you will see these popping up as we go because I used some of them to mark the pages that are over there. So this should be really exciting. So I've got these landscape ones. Obviously, they've been cut out. Some of their brothers and sisters you will see coming up soon. I've got this one. It's been laminated, so sorry about the glare, but it's really pretty. Again, all the glitter doesn't really show up on camera, but it's very glittery and really satisfying, especially with that lamination. And then I've got these 2, which have yet to be laminated, so you can see all the glitter and shine on them. So they're really pretty. So yeah, so I will show you those bookmarks as they appear. Let me just check off that I did tell you about those in my book here. So altogether I did 9 bookmarks. So that's very exciting. All right, so aside from that one, we're now going in some sort of random order. So let's get on with it. So the first one is a PDF. And that is this one here. And this is from Morgan O'Brien's The Way Home. So we've got little Grogu napping in the tail of this cute creature here. I did print it out on Nina cardstock. So it's pretty sturdy paper, as you can see. Even the alcohol marker didn't want to seep through it too badly, all things considered. But it is all done with alcohol marker and just a few little gel pens or metallic pens for some accent. And it was just a fun, quick little no-brainer page. But I figured I have it, so I may as well use it. And I got to start doing more PDFs because I have so many stored away on my computer that it's a shame that I don't color them more. And I have to give a big shout out and thank you to my dear friend Juliet at Juliet Colors for helping me to get my printer up and running in more ways than one. So thank you, Juliet, and thank you, Morgan O'Brien, for supplying this beautiful book, which, if you go to his website, is free to download. You can download The Way Home for free. However, I do recommend that if you go in there, try to purchase something else with it to get it for free, or maybe leave him a tip, you know, leave a little something, because he put a lot of effort into this book, so it's a full book for free. So, you know, if you can contribute in some other way, that would be wonderful for him. So yeah, that is The Way Home by Morgan O'Brien. Okay, the next one that's up is from Dark Fantasy Coloring Book by Jade Summer. And this falls into the category of Space Timber. So this is super exciting. So I picked this one specifically because I wanted to make sure I was doing Space Timber. I wasn't sure how to color this. I was not sure what kind of color palette I was going to use, so I did look one up on Pinterest based on alien color palette, and then I strayed way out of line from there. I didn't keep with the color palette very well at all, but I think the color palette that I chose worked out really well. I wanted to make it seem like these sort of bronzy ones were made out of metal, bronze in particular, so I used, but it's all based in alcohol marker because it's pre-shaded, right? So having the alcohol marker just gives it a little extra. And then I did go over the shaded areas either with the same marker to deepen it a little bit, or I chose a shade darker just to accent it and make it stand out just a little bit more, because I found that just with one layer of alcohol marker, the shading still wasn't quite prominent enough for my liking. And then I used some glaze pens, and as you'll notice on these bubbles here, this is loose glitter that I glued down. And you'll see all the Jelly Roll glaze on her face there, and her eyes. Yeah, it's very shiny, very glittery, and I love the neon that I was able to use for the little spaceship in the background here. So yeah, this is my first one. So this was an untouched book. This is my first one out of Dark Fantasy Coloring Book by Jade Summer. Oh, also, did I mention that Soraya Colors is the big, I have to give her a big thank you, because she motivated me to get moving and get coloring by having her Space Timber 2025 hashtag. So thank you, Soraya, for that. Of course, these people that I am praising, I will make sure to link in the description box below. Okay, so next up, oh my goodness, this was the first one that I completed this month, if I'm not mistaken. No, second one that I completed this month, but first one for Space Timber, and that is in, of course, Kerby Rosanes' Alien Worlds. What a book. And how could it be Space Timber if you didn't finish a page, or at least start a page, or at least work on a page in this book, because it is so gorgeous. It's one of my favorites, I have to say, by him. It's so intimidating, but it's so beautiful at the same time. So the page that I finished was this Long Time Whip. I started this page a long time ago on a live stream that I did when I did live streams. And I started it by basing it with Inktense. And then it kind of moved from there. So where did I take it from there? Yes, that's right. I based the background, the clouds, the sky, everything with pan pastels. Inktense based the dragon and her babies. Acrylic paint pen, of course, to outline all these clouds and get rid of the black lines. I used polychromos to do all the rocks and, of course, some of the shading on the dragon and her babies. And then, of course, I have KJ Design by Karen glitter paint for some of the purple accents on the dragon and her babies. See all that shine? That's KJ Design by Karen's watercolors. Absolutely stunning. I am so proud of the way that this turned out. I decided to go with gray rocks because I didn't want anything to take away from the majesty of this creature, her babies, and even the clouds a little bit. Like even our little spaceman and his ship, I made so boring, such monotonous gray, because I just didn't want anything to take away from the beauty of the rest of this bright, bold coloring. So yeah, so the next one I have to work on, I'm going to try to get to this one eventually. This isn't going to be a strictly seasonal book, obviously, because there's so much to do in here. I'm going to work on it all year round if I can bring myself to. But this is a beautiful page that I have to work on. I already colored those creatures back here, and I colored them pink. I don't know if I'm going to stick to that when I come over here. I can always pretend they're from a different species or clan, so I can do them whatever color I want. So I haven't decided if I'm going to match them or if I'm just going to pretend it's a completely different planet or page. I don't know yet. I guess we'll see. So that is Alien Worlds by Kerby Rosanes. Next, I have another PDF, and this is from Yampuff's Chibi Tarot, and this is the Hermit. So I printed this out on printer paper. As you can see, it did not hold up super well, but I don't care that much. As you can see, I based it all in alcohol marker, and then I just went over, I did it all in alcohol marker actually, and then anything that's not alcohol marker is paint or paint pens. So around the outside edges here is KJ designed by Karen. Is it? Wait, hold on. I don't want to say the wrong thing. No, the Attic Co. blue watercolor paint. And then a bunch of different metallic paint pens. And then I used Glitterific by Folk Art for all this gold in the background. Again, kind of a simple page, but I did do some blending with the alcohol markers. I think it turned out really nice on the robe here with the lighting and the light beams and everything, and her face. I thought I did really well with a very limited color palette, and I'm pretty happy with all the way it turned out and all that glitter. So yeah, happy with that. And another one also that went for Space Timber. So that's Yampuff's Chibi Tarot. So next up, actually, I think we might save this one for the last because we know it's going to be a biggie. I got a few done in here, so we'll come back to you. Next is Color Me Stress Free, a Zen coloring book illustrated by Angela Porter. I've had this book in my archives for a very long time, and I didn't realize that it was illustrated by Angela Porter because it has been in my archives since before I knew who Angela Porter was, before I knew who half these illustrators are. So anyways, it's sort of a Zen doodle book, as you can see, and I played around in it a lot before I became a true colorist. So I had a lot of whips in here. Like, these are all whips. You can see all these tags, tons and tons of whips. So I decided to go in and I finished 2 whips in here. So there's nothing really super crazy, but I think it's important that I went back and I finished them anyways, even though I stopped them because I wasn't happy with them. I was using super cheap pencils. I didn't know what I was doing, but it's fine because that's how we learn, right? So I finished this one. And here's another bookmark I did. It's very glittery. Sorry, the glare is like taking away from my glitter, but in real life, like I said, it looks really good. So I finished this warm mandala, and it is just a hodgepodge of different pencils, water-based markers, things like that. I just wanted to get it finished. I should have taken a picture of before and after because I don't even remember what it looked like before I started, but I did finish it on September 6th. As you can see, I stamped it there, so that is good. And the next one that I finished was this rainbow square. So first of all, cute bookmark I finished. If you want the links to anything and you don't find it in the description, make sure you leave me a comment to let me know so that I can send you the link, okay? So I just finished up this section here. Everything else was done, and I did it in some pencil that I have no idea what it was. It could have been Crayola or any number of cheap pencils that I had beforehand, but I admire the fact that I managed to get it into like a nice kind of rainbow-ish order, so then all I had to do was insert the green here, and that was finished. I finished that also on the 6th. So I got to get back in here and finish some of these whips because there are so many whips in here. I did finish a few though. So anyways, Color Me Stress Free, illustrated by Angela Porter. Next, we have Romantic Country by Eriy. This is the first tale. And I did this big bad boy here. Woo! And I did this for Space Timber. I wanted to do a galaxy sky, and I did it by slopping watercolor paint all over this page. All over it. You can see where it like dripped and ran through the clock here. I should have masked, but I didn't. I thought this was a big enough space that I would not make a mess. That was indeed a lie. So, but I've got some really nice like shimmer paint. It's like iridescent paint in there. And I've got white ink sprayed all over to make stars. I've got some glitter paint to make the moon and these little stars in here, as you can see. Really had fun with that sky. And then with the, let me just find it here. Romantic Country. I used Woomer pencils. Okay, so I based everything with Albrecht Dürer to give the paper a little bit of tooth, because if you know her books, it's really smooth. Whoops. It's a bit of a mess, but that's okay. We'll fix it. But the paper is very, very smooth. So I based everything really lightly with Albrecht Dürer, and then I went over the top using my Woomer pencils, which I actually really enjoyed in this context. And I would do this combination again in this book. So that's really nice. And then I've got super golden marker for all the metals in the clock tower here. You can see that incredible change in shine. It's wild, isn't it? I love the super golden markers. So yeah, there's not much else to say about this. Again, I very much enjoyed the process. This was a lot of fun. Even the coloring of the hills and everything, I just found it a lot of fun. So that is Romantic Country by Eriy. Next we have Kawaii Tarot by Lulu Mayo, and I did the Hanged Man in here. I did this with what I call my faux harmonious palette. So this is what I picture the harmonious pencils looking like, you know, the Castle Arts harmonious pencils. This is what I picture the color palette would turn out like if I used those. So I used Prismacolor, but I used all these super muted soft colors. It's a really out of character color palette for me, but I thought I would try something different. So I basically used the most muted versions of a purple, a blue, and a green that I could find. And then I used like creams and taupes to like blend them out. And I forgot one leaf right there, which is gonna bother me forever, but I'll finish it eventually. The outside border is a KJ designed by Karen watercolor. And I've got KJ designed by Karen watercolors for all of the little planets, stars, everything. She played a big role. Her watercolors really set this page apart. I love Karen's paints. I would die to get more, but alas, they're out of my price range right now. As is everything. I'm on a no buy, guys. Like, no buy. You're not going to see any hauls from me unless I get real lucky and somebody decides that I need more stuff for me. So, all right, that is Kawaii Tarot by Lulu Mayo. Of course, that goes for Space Timber as well. Next is another PDF, and that is by Artsy Lola Co., and it's this Witchy Kitten page. So, I used exclusively my Color 72 set of pencils for this, except I also used Albrecht Dürer. So I used Albrecht Dürer to do the background here underneath the fire and the moon, but then I used some acrylic paint for this part of the background back here. And then I used my Color 72 set for the kitten and the logs and the rocks. I've got an acrylic paint pen down here for the ground. I've got some sparkle pop for this bluey purple rim here, and on the, oh no, I used pencil for the collar. I thought I did, but, and then I've got again my glitterific in the background here. So very shiny. This was done on premium printer paper. Like, it's kind of like the premium Amazon paper. It's, yeah, anyway, it's a little better than regular paper, but it's really, really smooth. But I thought this turned out okay. I like the way that the reflections from the fire turned out on the cat. It looks nice. Yeah, that also goes for Space Timber because of the moon and stars, but that's Artsy Lola Co's Witchy Kitten. Next up, oh my goodness, next up, this one is really fun. So this one comes from Far Out Space Adventure Coloring Book, which was a group project by people, the team, Melissa Volkman, Chris Shepard, and Galia Putra. They put this together. I'm not going to try to explain it. It's a bit of a lengthy explanation as to where this book came from, but it was kindly gifted to me by the creators. So, and it's got really hefty paper in it, almost cardstock. And you can do some really neat things here. I was testing out some mediums. Pretty much everything works on this paper beautifully. There's alcohol marker, and that was 2 layers of alcohol marker, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. So this is the page that I did. Here's another bookmark that I did. That aside. Yeah, so this is the page I did in here, and everything was done with alcohol markers, including this galaxy sky background type thing. I'm gonna move this over a little bit with my water bottle. And then I just got rid of all of the black lines using my X Powfay, my no-name but Black Label acrylic paint pens. And then I just used some different glitter paints over top to create that sparkle and shine. I made it, I kept it really simple. I didn't do a lot of shading or blending. I just kind of block colored and then let the accents do the work, all the glitter and shine and metallic. But yeah, that was a really, really fun page. Just to be kind of simple, you know? Sometimes it doesn't have to be complicated. It can just be simple, and that's okay. So that's Far Out Space Adventure. Obviously, that goes for Space Timber. Do I need to keep saying these things? Can you guys pick out in the picture why it might go for Space Timber? Yeah, I think so. Next, this was the first one I did this month, and this is a PDF by Coloring Book Cafe. It was one of the freebies they gave out at one point. And my husband asked me, is it possible, like, can you color a page with just one color? And I said, heck yeah, I can. Let me show you. So he colored a page, and I colored a page. And, well, actually, we colored the same page. I printed this out, and we both had a copy of this. And, you know, in fact, give me a second. I want to show you his. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So these are the 2 pages. We picked the colors just off the top of our heads. It wasn't random, but it was like strategic in a certain sense. I pictured this because of all the hearts. I pictured it in pinks or reds, so I picked pink. Also because I have so many pinks to work with. He picked brown, and I assume that that's because, you know, there's a lot of things that could be brown in here as well. There's wood, there's frames, there's the animals, and guess what? It turned out fabulous. I thought they both turned out really, really great, and I'm really proud of both of them. He used water-based markers and pencils, and I thought it just turned out so cute. I love the texture that he managed to get into the owl and even into the background here. It looks really, really good. And I thought the color choices he used were really cohesive and fell within that one color thing. And given that this is his first one color challenge, I thought he did a fabulous job. And here's mine. So I used alcohol markers almost exclusively, except for a few glitter pens. As you can see, I tried to make sure that I was shading using different shades of pinks and stuff. I used a white pen, maybe that's cheating, to just do a little bit of the highlights and stuff like that. I tried to make the glass look on there. And I put some little dots on the bow there, put some stripes on the present. I'm really happy with the way both of them turned out. I thought they were both so cute. And I'm so happy that we did this together. And I always love when he's willing to color with me. So thank you, Mr. Winter, for doing that with me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving me the inspiration for that. So those were freebies by Coloring Book Cafe. Next up, we have A Million Little Monsters by Lulu Mayo. And I did this one. So this one went for Space-Timber, and it also went for autumn or Halloween as well. That's what I love about this book, is that it has so many different things you can do with it. So this one, let me grab my book and make sure that I'm saying the right things here. Million Little Monsters, yeah, okay. All of the pencil work in this was entirely done with my Black Label cheap Temu pencils. I know, right? I was really impressed how they worked on this paper, to be honest with you. I expected it to be a nightmare because this paper's kind of picky, but it turned out really good. And then I used my Black Label acrylic paint pens to get rid of all the black lines and do all the detail work, add in all that glitter and sparkle, and that is it. Nothing expensive. It was all done with Black Label products, which is super cool and I'm really proud of. I love the metallic that I was able to put on the planets there and in her mane. It's all metallic and shiny in her horn. I think it's just so cute with these little guys. And look at this little spider. He looks horrified to be here. Poor thing. Oh, it is so cute. I love this page. I thought it turned out really, really good. So, all right, that's Lulu Mayo's A Million Little Monsters. Next, I have the Sleeping Animals Coloring Heaven Pocket, and this, of course, is by R.J. Hampson. And I decided to go autumn. I was feeling autumny, you know, I'd done a ton of space, and I was like, you know what? I need to slip some autumn in here. It's becoming autumn. So I did the background here, this orangey red background that's done with Light Wish oil pastels. And then I set it with satin glazing fluid, but I used alcohol marker to base all the raccoons, 3 different shades of gray. And I used a little bit of Jelly Roll Glaze, which I'm so glad I stocked up on before they went out of stock, before they were discontinued. I have 3 blacks and 3 clears and a whole bunch of colors. So I'm lucky that I am set for a while. All you people that didn't get a chance to stock up, I'm so sorry. Like, they were so great. Anyways, I used Ohuhu alcohol markers, acrylic paint for the background, the black paint, and again, the Black Label pencils for all the shading. I realized I forgot to shade this raccoon's tail, but that is okay. You can't really tell. I thought it was just another cute, simple little page that I was able to get done, but also with some nice mixed media, because you know me, I love my mixed media. I get so bored using just one medium. Very rarely can I do a page with just one medium. It drives me up the wall to do that. So I just love switching it up and adding all kinds of different mediums. So that is R.J. Hampson's Sleeping Animals. Next up, I have Hanna Karlzon's Space. And in this page, I have this bookmark I made. Another one. These little mushrooms. See, I did them with alcohol markers. All right. The actual page. My little rocket ship. I thought this turned out so cute. Okay. So everything in here was done with Albert Duers, Inktense, watercolor paints, and acrylic paint. And that is it. I don't think, oh no, that's a lie. I used some polychromos just on these, on like the fins here. I don't know what you call them. Fins, the wings, I guess, of the spaceship, just to get some depth in that red because I was struggling to get the depth in the red. But I used a little bit of polychromos there. But the rest is all Inktense, Albert Durer. That's it. And that's how we got these beautiful, this beautiful gradient around here. And in the clouds here, I've got Mod Podge Dimensional Magic on all these bubbles here, and I'll show you that texture in a second. Down here in the trail, I've got some MAB watercolor glitter, and same with up here, MAB watercolor glitter to create that. I use super golden markers to outline pretty much everything to get rid of all of the black lines. I used black acrylic to do the background behind the cat here, and then there's these little dots. But yeah, so it is so glittery. Like this lighting does not do it justice. But this is the epitome of space timber. This page, I would say, this page and Alien Worlds are my most spacey of space timber vibes. And I love it. I did one for Space Timber last year. It's the only other one that I've done in this book, and it was this one. And same deal, like all the glitter, all the space. And I used Albert Duers for the outer part here, and then I used Super Tips as watercolor for the background. But yeah, so I apparently have a thing for using water mediums in this book, which I really shouldn't because I think it does bleed. Like the paper doesn't take it super well. It's not the same as her usual quality. And this one bled through like crazy, as you can see. Got all kinds of bleed through there, but that's okay. So that is Space by Hanna Karlzon. Next, I have Morgan O'Brien's. So this is my second Morgan O'Brien of the month. Matchstick Mouse, a big adventure coloring book. Put that on there to remind myself that I had a completed page in here. And this is the page that I did. I did the Paris page. So I did it because it was one of the few that had stars in it. So I felt like it would work for Space Timber. What did I do this with? Prismacolor. I did this all with Prismacolor, and I blended it out using the Prismacolor blender. So it was an experiment in using that blending technique to make it all look very fluid, but also very dark. I wanted it to be shadowy. I based everything with like dark shadows underneath, and then put my Prismacolor, the colors over top, and then blended it using the blender pencil. And I think that gave it a really dusky, dark, like the only light source is the tower lighting things up. And I think that that's kind of what I was going for with this. And then of course I used black paint in the background, but a little bit of metallic paint on the Eiffel Tower and the stars, but otherwise just Prisma. And I love the way it turned out. So there's another one for Space Timber in Morgan O'Brien. Next, we have Rita Berman's brand new Hidden Oceans. I didn't buy this one this month. It arrived this month because I had pre-ordered it ages ago, and it finally arrived this month. So I forgot that I did get this book this month as well. But anyways, I did just a little page in here. I did just this page, just the nameplate page. And this paper is weird. I'm going to be honest with you, it is weird. It is way different than her other paper, and I don't know how to feel about it. And I don't know if I love the size. I feel like I liked her smaller size better. I feel like it's more cozy to me, but maybe that opinion will change the more I color in it. But anyway, so for now, I did this as an experiment to try and figure out the paper and see what it was going to do. And what did I use? I used Brute Funer, Languo, and a little bit of Crayola Super Tips. Yeah, just a simple little page. Nothing really to say about it. The Brute Funers worked reasonably well on this paper, like to create that circle around that blue circle. I thought they blended out reasonably well, but it was weird. This paper is weird. But yeah, a cute little start, and so this is no longer an untouched book. Hidden Oceans. Oh, Big Adventure was untouched as well, and it was a gift from my friend Juliet as well. Juliet, you're the best. Okay, next we have Japanese Mythology Special. Now this one was a bit of a shock to me. I found myself surprised that I was so drawn to this one this month, because this is not my normal style. I've never colored anime before, and this is very anime style. So it was a big surprise to me when I flipped through it and I went, yeah, you know what, that page, we're gonna do that page. So this is what we ended up with. So the background I did with watercolor, and surprisingly, this paper held it pretty well. I even like splattered some copper watercolor over top to get this kind of glowing effect, and I thought it just looked really like messy in the way that fire is messy. You know what I mean? Because this is, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but she is the enigmatic deity of storms, lightning, and celestial fire. So I thought that messy, fiery background just fit with her thing. I took a little bit of navy blue acrylic paint and kind of dabbed it along the edges to clean everything up and tie it together, because the image didn't come quite to the edges. So I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't really want to like just cut off the border and like make a border, but I didn't want to leave it undone either. So I just sort of used like a paintbrush and kind of like with just a little bit of paint on it and kind of like wisped it in, and used a sponge to dab it in just to make it look messy but complete at the same time, like it's supposed to be that messy, right? Her I based in alcohol marker, as you can see, and then I used polychromos. I used polychromos to do all my shading on top, and then the fire, like this celestial thing she's got in her hands, and then the meteors that are coming down. I did that with Ohuhu glitter markers and a little bit of gold KJ designed by Karen paint just for the outer glow here, but the rest was all done with Ohuhu glitter markers to get that sparkle. So let me show you. It is so glittery. But I figured that that was the only way to do justice to celestial fire. Like, how do you celestial fire? Because that sounds incredible and otherworldly. So I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. I'm even happy with the way her skin turned out, because I am not good or confident with skin, but hey, I'm gonna keep trying and we're gonna keep going. So that's what we've got in Japanese Mythology Special. Yeah. Crazy. Okay. Oops, forgot to check off Hidden Oceans here. There we go. Next, we have 50 space-themed miniatures. I've done quite a lot. I did quite a lot in this book back in Space-Tember. Did I mark? Oh, I did. Thank God. That would have been hard to figure out. So this one was the one I did this year. First of all, bookmark. Really cute. Oh, I got to pull out my neons for this one, baby. Woo, I love it. See, I used my Neon Ohuhu alcohol markers, which I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but it went great. So it's all based in alcohol markers, and then I used KJ Design by Karen's and MAB watercolors to do all the glitter that you're going to see in a minute. I outlined everything using probably my X-Pow Phase, was it? Yeah, the X-Pow Phase to get rid of all the black lines and create that extra neon bit, but all that glitter is all Etsy paints. Look at in the way that I've got it coming pouring out. So it's like it's pouring onto the flower, but it's also going into the meteor and pouring out of the holes in the meteor. I thought that was a really cool way to sort of add some extra sparkle. Look at that shine on that moon in the background, the KJ Designs. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And then the MAB up there in that blue. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. I love this page. I forgot that I did this page, to be honest, and I'm so proud of it. It's really, really nice. Okay, so that is 50 space-themed miniatures by Camellia Angelkova. Next, there's one I forgot to pull off the shelf, so let's grab that one. So Mr. Winter picked one out for me in here to do, and it was one that I've had my eye on for a little while, but I haven't gotten around to. So, and of course I didn't mark it because I forgot, but I'll find it. There it is. I did Chicken Little. These are so fun. I love doing these Disney pictures, and I'm going to be so sad when I run out. I mean, I've still got a lot to go, don't get me wrong, but I am starting to fill this thing up, and it is an awesome book. I love it. It's tome 11, by the way, in case I didn't say, by Hachette Heroes. And it's Chicken Little. So I used all of the acrylic markers, you know, and language gel pens, and all the usual things that one would use in one of these Disney books. You can see I used a metallic pen for the chairs to give it almost like a, I don't know if it looks more like pleather or if it looks more like velvet, but I like the effect that the metallic pens had on it. It's not often you get to use metallic purple pens. That's not, you know, so when I saw the opportunity, I ran with it, you know. But yeah, I really like the way he turned out. I thought it was really cute little picture. It was a pain in my patella doing all these tiny little pink dots. I used Languo gel pens for that, but you know what? And going around them was even worse, using the X-Pow Phase to go around them. It was a bit tedious, but in the end, I'm glad I did it because it turned out fabulous. I love it. It's great. And really cute. So, yeah. So that is Les Grands Classiques, tome 18 by Hachette Heroes. Okay, the next one that we have is, the last one that we have is 50 Mythical Miniatures. Any of you who have been here before, you know that this is my project book to try to complete before the end of 2026. And if you want to do it with me, we're doing #Project Mythical Minis. And we are so close, folks. We are so close to the end of this. I can taste it. And theoretically, it shouldn't be too hard to get it done by the end of the year, even though I'm a bit behind. I don't think I know anybody, including myself, who has managed to keep up with this pace that I've set with this book, because that was insane. I was going 4 pages a month in this book and then expecting myself to do other pages as well. Oh, who set that standard? Anyway, we're getting there. We are going. We got this. And at the end, I will show you what I should have done, which is put up which 4 are coming up for October. So anyways, what I did this month. The first one here is the Kraken. Based with alcohol markers, shaded using a dot technique with alcohol markers, which was a new technique for me. And then I used some loose glitter everywhere else to create that nice sparkly shine. But I love the way that this dotting technique really worked, giving it some really good dimension and depth. I think this was a really cute page. So that is the Kraken. Next, I did the Sphinx. I used a paint pen for this orange background. The rest I based with soft pastel. And let me double check here. My pen go. I'm a mess, folks. I used my Artex pencils to shade. I used super golden markers to outline the pyramids, do her headband, and outline the clouds. And then I used my usual X-Pow-Fay acrylic pens to outline everything else. And I thought that that turned out really good. In this book, I've started, nearing the end, experimenting with other materials, other ways to color. Instead of just doing alcohol markers or just doing alcohol markers with pencil over top, I was trying some different things. And as you can see here, I tried that dotting technique. So that was a different one, right? So I think I'm getting there. I think I'm starting to expand my repertoire a little bit, and that's pretty awesome. So that is the Sphinx, number 9 if you're counting. Next up, I did the Minotaur and number 13. And this one was based without Ohuhu alcohol marker, of course. Then I used acrylic paint in a rose gold color for the background. I used Tuliart and X-Pow-Fay paint pens to get rid of all of the black lines and smooth everything out. And I used some glaze for the eyelashes and whatnot. I think this turned out really nice. I was gonna do a copper background. I have like a dark copper paint, but I thought that going lighter with the rose gold actually helped the Minotaur to stand out a little more. But it's very shiny. I could have used a darker paint pen, I think, for the columns to do the outlines, but and same with her snout. It's a little bit less peach than I was going for. But that's okay. We live, we learn. Her, his, they, their snout. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the Minotaur. Next is the Cyclops. This one, I'm on the fence about how I feel about it. I did the same thing where I experimented to try and do a different base. I messy slopped some watercolor paint on for the base to try and create this different sort of abstract look. And I don't know if it achieved what I was going for. I've seen, I think it was Elm Colors do this quite a lot, where she sort of dabs on some watercolor paint generally in the area and then colors over top of it. And it creates this really neat painterly look. I'm not sure I achieved the same thing. But nonetheless, you can tell what it is, and it was a lot of fun to do it, so I think that that's kind of what's important. I'm not sure I would do this technique again, but we'll see. Maybe on a different paper, it would be better. But, yeah, just a simple page, nothing too crazy. And that's page 17, for those of you, once again, keeping track. Next, I did the Nine-Tailed Fox, and I really like the way that this one turned out as well. I thought this one was real fun. So I based everything in Ohuhu alcohol marker. It says I used pastel somewhere. I might have based with pastel. Yeah, that's right. I based her with pastel in certain areas. And the moon. Like I did a bunch of alcohol marker. But yeah, I based the moon and her in soft pastel. That's right. I forgot. Because I was trying that technique again because it worked so well on the Sphinx, I think. Yeah, that's what happened. And then I got rid of the lines using my usual techniques, using acrylic paint pens and Langua pens. I used a metallic to outline her to give her that ethereal look. but I like the color palette. It's a bit of an unusual color palette, but again, I'm trying to experiment and step out of my comfort zone. So I'm happy with the way it turned out. That's 19 for those of you keeping track. And finally, this was my Space Timber page in here, the Simurgh. Did it because of this big old moon here. I added in these dots for stars, but I'm quite happy with the way that this guy turned out. It was, I think, the first one I did of the month for Mythical Minis. And yeah, so based in Ohuhu alcohol marker, as you can see, I used Color pencils. I used craft silver paint for the moon here. And folk art sparkle glaze over top of the background, and it kind of gave like this bluey green glitter to it. But yeah, I used an orange pencil to shade the flowers, which I think gave it kind of a really dark, interesting look. I think maybe Color pencils were not the best choice for layering those kinds of colors in, but it still left a really interesting, just made it an interesting color. And then I used super golden markers for the eyes of the peacock tails, and a sparkle pop over top of the lines on the peacock tails to give it some glitter. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. I think it did honor Space Timber really, really well, and I've loved seeing all of you guys's. I'm so excited to see that you guys are still participating, and I will be posting them on Instagram. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I will be doing that, so really happy with her. So yeah, that is everything that I did in Project Mythical Minis. Let's do a quick little look here. We're going to be doing October 2025. We're going to be doing the Chimera, the Cerberus, the Chinese Dragon, and the Manticore, if you're not 4 behind like I those are what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to aim to do these, or at least these ones that I'm behind on. Now, I did leave us a spare month, December. There's nothing planned, so you can catch up on all the ones that you've missed if you want to in December. So don't fret if you're close, but you're still behind like I am. You've got that extra month to work in. So, but we are almost done. Look at this. Look at how full this grate is. There's only a few left. That is so exciting, guys. We're almost at the end. This book is so chonky. Look at it. It is a mess. It's barely holding it together. If I hadn't like laminated it, it would have been falling apart by now. So, very exciting. So that is the end of my completed pages for September. Thank you for joining me, guys. It has been so exciting to have you here with me, and I am glad that I managed to get some pages done this month, because you know I've been slacking a little bit. I haven't been able to get as much done as I wanted to the last couple of months, but this month I really pulled it together. So I can't wait to see what I do this month, and I can't wait to see what you guys do this month. If you wouldn't mind, give me a like, subscribe, comment, you know, let me know that you still remember who I am even though I'm not around as much, and we'll see you in the next one. Toodaloo!